Hello friends, it's Dave here from SaveDex bringing to you another review. Those that have followed the channel will know that my favourite genre of game is the 3D collectathon platformer. So when I noticed a new one coming to the Switch called Castle on the Coast, I jumped at the chance to play this game. I was very kindly provided with a review copy, thank you very much for that. So let's take a look at what exactly this game is. As I mentioned before, it's a 3D collectathon platformer where you take control of George, a giraffe who can do parkour. It happens. You find yourself in a world where the wizards have left the realm and never returned, and the remaining two younger ones have a grudge against the other NPCs, and you need to try and bring this family back together. Because, you know, George is the caring type. In fact, he's actually the mascot of Valley Children's Hospital in California, and this game exists as a cooperation between Valley Children's, Big Heart Productions and Clabatter. So let's see if this game is one to stick your neck out for, or if they were just having a giraffe. Your main goal in this game is to explore the world and collect 4 keystones. Once you have collected all 4, you can access the final area in the game. From this central castle area, you can branch off into different worlds. There will be areas you can only access by collecting enough star keys to open the doors. The bulk of the gameplay comes from exploring the different areas, finding star keys and solving some light puzzles to access the new areas. There are also flowers to find, which are basically this game's coins. These are used to unlock costumes. The parkour element that I mentioned already plays a big role in the game, but at the same time not big enough. The controls in themselves are very floaty, and I found myself bounding all over the place, and it took a while to get used to. It was simply pressing B to jump and again to do a double jump, Y to do a spin attack and X to do diving and rolling, although I didn't really use it that much. Other parkour style elements are implemented, such as being able to wall jump or run along walls, but very rarely did I ever find these moves were needed. Quite early on I got a jetpack, which you can use by holding B while in the air to give you a temporary hover. Pressing A can take the jetpack on or off, so you can find yourself combining the jetpack with the double jump to get some extra height and distance. Also add in the higher jumps you can do by doing multiple jumps in a row like in the Mario games, and there is a lot of freedom in your movement. I mentioned Mario here simply because figuring out how to combine the jetpack and double jump reminded me of Mario Odyssey with the tricks you can do with Cappy. Although this game doesn't control anywhere near as tightly as Odyssey, the freedom of movement here feels really satisfying when you get used to how this plays. Because of that, I found myself reaching areas that felt like I wasn't supposed to be reaching. Making it across gaps without using a rope that was there for me to slide across, it kinda made me feel like I was cheesing the game. But when I completed the game, I unlocked a speedrun mode, and you know what? These sorts of sequence breaking moves can make for very entertaining speedruns, and although I'm not a speedrunner myself, I can see this sort of game being fun to optimise the quickest routes. The different areas you go to, although distinct, feel like part of the same area, as the transitions into these areas are completely seamless with no loading screens. Although getting to the main keystone is the main goal of each area, making it ultimately a linear mission, the areas themselves feel explorable, and you have a checklist of how many star keys there are in the area to progress. There are also times where you will travel through a window into another dimension, which offer up a strictly linear challenge. These areas do have loading screens to get into them, and there are different gimmicks to be seen here, such as cubes of water or gusts of wind to navigate through, as well as some vehicles to switch up the gameplay, whether it be using a glider, or rolling on the ball, or manning a submarine. They control okay and they add a nice change of pace. There are enemies to fight as well as a few boss fights. They aren't anything special as the combat is quite limited, but if you die you go back to a checkpoint, which are very frequent, and you keep every collectible you've already found. Most of the gameplay comes down to navigating your way through each area while exploring them to find enough collectibles to access the next place. This can be a detriment to the gameplay at times though, especially as when I found 3 out of the 4 keystones and I couldn't access the 4th area as I was 3 star keys short of opening the door and I had a wide area to find them in. I was close to giving up at that point, but although I persevered, and I'm glad I did, I can see some people not enjoying this aspect of the game. But you don't have to do it all alone, there is a co-op mode as well. If you have a second controller activated, George will have a flying squirrel named Swirls on his back. Swirls can aid you by throwing flowers for you to bounce on, use nuts as weapons, and also help you glide. You can also jump off of George's back to move around freely, although it doesn't go into split screen, and you can easily go off camera. There is a line indicating where Swirls is, and you can jump straight onto George with a push of a button. Co-op doesn't add much, but if you have a young child or sibling, then it is a nice touch. I really like the game's graphical style. It reminds me of something that you'd see on the N64, although with much smoother edges, and there's a lot of bold colours, with the world looking like it's been crafted together using cardboard and then painted over. George is a likeable character as well. He doesn't talk, but he likes to nod along with a bit of a dopey face. Simple effect, but it adds charm, I find. The music sets an appropriate tone for the areas you're in, and although none of it stood out for me, it still did the job, and the game is voice acted as well, and I always appreciate the effort with that.
Good one. How about this? Pick up the books, or I turn you and your friends into popsicles.
The game costs £13.49, $14.99 or €14.99 with a 10% pre-order discount. The game took me around 3 hours to beat, which did include backtracking and wandering around a bit aimlessly trying to find things. The game overall wasn't particularly difficult, although in later sections I did find myself needing to retry plenty of times, and I don't really know if I can see myself playing through it again. Even though there is a speedrun option as well as an arcade mode which lets you try out the separate areas. I feel this game is aimed at a younger audience, and overall I think it's a decent one for that younger crowd. It didn't leave a great first impression of me with how floaty and loose the controls felt, but once I got used to how it played and I became one with the giraffe, then I did enjoy my time with it, albeit a very short time. I would definitely like to see more from this team, as they do have the potential to make something great with the base they have built. The parkour style moveset needed to be implemented better to make me use the environment to progress while keeping momentum, rather than just cheesing my way through. But it still felt like a fun way to play, and speedrunners could have a field day with this one. So overall, a decent little game. When it's on sale, it could be worth a pick up if you like this sort of game, but if you're not a fan of these sorts of collectathon 3D platformers, you're best off of skipping this one. But what do you think of this game anyway? Does it look like the sort of thing you'd like to play? Let me know in those comments down below, and make sure you like and subscribe to keep up with our future videos. Thank you so much for watching everyone, we'll see you in the next one.